The first confirmed case of Covid-19 in the US was reported on the 20th of January 2020, and on January 31st, the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency. However, it wasn't until late March that states in the US began implementing stay-at-home orders. Now, over a year on, I speak to Ella McGettigan, a New Yorker currently living in Connecticut for college, to find out about her experience of Covid in the US.
In the beginning, it was so strange because we were in college and we were being sent home for our spring break, and we thought we were going home for a week. And then science professors were like, be prepared, it might be an extra week, it might be an extra 2 weeks. No one really knew what was going on. And then we were sent home, and Trump just kept belittling the situation. And he was like, it's nothing to be worried about. It's not going to affect us. It's only when we got our first case, it was no big deal. Everything was just closed. Everything was a ghost town. There was no one on the streets. My dad and my brother live in the city, and it was just so bizarre when we would go to see them. There was no traffic in the city. The city was a literal ghost town. Nobody was outside, and which was insane because my dad's in the construction and the restaurant business, and all the jobs were closed down, all the restaurants were closed down. It was just so bizarre because Trump was in our ear saying that it wasn't a big deal, that it was fine, everything was going to stay open, and then it ended up being the complete opposite.
Trump's response to the pandemic received heavy criticism, causing confusion and uncertainty throughout the country. Even now, attitudes to the virus vary wildly from state to state.
I know I have friends that go to universities down in South Carolina. There's no masks. Bars are open. They're out all night. And it's life is normal. And I have friends down in University of Tampa in Florida. And they are just, if you wear a mask, you're looked at like you're judged. You're judged for wearing a mask. In reality, if you walk down the streets of Connecticut and you weren't wearing a mask, you would be yelled at. Someone would definitely say something to you and you would just get looks, and it's just not accepted in society here.
Students across the world have been affected by COVID restrictions as the majority of learning has moved online. I spoke to Ella to find out how schools in Connecticut have dealt with these restrictions.
Honestly, my university, it seems seeing all of my friends and everyone that I know they're also at college. Only some people are online fully at home. Seems like everyone is pretty much back on campus, and it seems like my university's been one of the strictest. I've seen everyone out, and they're having darties where they go outside and a frat, they throw day parties all day long, and it's huge crowds of people. That would get shut down so fast. My school is my university, if you get caught having more than 2 people in your room, you get kicked off campus, you get sent home with no refund. It's it's insane. We get tested every week. You can get tested on Monday and Wednesday every week, and if you don't get tested, if you forget, you'll get kicked off campus and you'll have to go home, get a PCR test, and come back when they know that you're negative. I'm on a PR club that's doing a campaign to fix the COVID dorms, and people are well, we've never had a pandemic like this while school's been around. So it's no one knows what to do.
Thankfully, there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel, with the US administering almost 2.5 million doses of the COVID vaccine per day. Many are hopeful that this marks a return to normal life in all states.